Imagine waking up tomorrow to news that a large-scale global conflict has begun. Not a story on the screen, but a conflict that reshapes trade routes, fractures alliances, and triggers tensions between major powers. In such a world, ordinary people everywhere would suddenly confront one question: where would I be safest? Most of the world's nations are deeply connected by trade, diplomacy, and geography. Port cities, military alliances, major industrial hubs. These places are essential in peace, yet they also sit within the paths of potential conflict. But what if, instead of looking at influence or power, we consider risk reduction through geography and self-sufficiency? Distance from hotspots. Policies of neutrality. The ability to feed and power a population without heavy reliance on outside forces. In a truly large-scale confrontation, geography still matters. Islands on the fringe of major sea lanes. Mountain-locked countries with traditions of neutrality. Nations whose economies are anchored in food and energy security. These are the places where safety is not a promise of perfect security, but where the basic conditions for survival, independence, and calm are comparatively stronger. Today, we are going beyond headlines and fear. This is not about predicting winners or glorifying conflict. It's about survival, geography, where ordinary life might continue with less disruption when the world grows unstable. By the end of this video, one country on this list may completely change how you think about safety in a global war. So let's begin our journey, starting with number 10 on our list. Country 10, Switzerland. Nestled in the heart of Europe, Switzerland is famous for its snow-capped Alps, serene lakes, and historic cities. But beyond the postcards lies a nation whose history and geography have shaped its safety profile over centuries. Switzerland's position, sandwiched between major European powers, paradoxically became a reason for its enduring neutrality. The Swiss Confederation has not taken part in a foreign war since 1815, choosing instead a policy of military neutrality and diplomacy. It is not an isolated island, but it is geographically protected by formidable mountain terrain that has historically deterred invasions and military campaigns. This neutrality means that in a large-scale war, Switzerland is unlikely to be a strategic target. It does not host major foreign military bases, nor is it home to large naval or air force installations that would attract external forces. Instead, its defense strategy is rooted in territorial defense and civil preparedness. From a survival perspective, Switzerland's agricultural sector, though limited by terrain, maintains high efficiency, especially in dairy and high-value crops, complemented by strong food storage systems. Its economy is diverse and technologically advanced, contributing to a stable internal environment. Hydroelectric power from alpine rivers provides a significant share of its energy, reducing dependence on external fossil fuel imports. Daily life in Switzerland during extended global instability would likely look like orderly routines, well-managed public services, reliable transport, and communities with resilient infrastructure. Its strong institutions, combined with social trust and political stability, create a sense of continuity even when global conditions falter. Country 9, Iceland. Far to the North Atlantic, between Greenland and mainland Europe, lies Iceland, a land of volcanoes, glaciers, and dramatic coastal fjords. It is also one of the most peaceful nations on Earth, consistently topping global peace rankings in recent years. Iceland's geographic isolation is its first layer of resilience. Thousands of kilometers from major military theaters, this island nation is removed from key global transit routes that form the focus of military strategy. There's no standing army. Instead, Iceland's defense arrangements are modest, focused primarily on Coast Guard duties and airspace monitoring. Strategically, few states would see Iceland as a military objective. It has low strategic military value in terms of bases or industrial infrastructure, and its neutrality has been a defining feature since the mid-20th century. Peaceful diplomacy, not power projection, has shaped its international profile. Iceland's natural resources also play a role in its self-sufficiency. Its abundance of fresh water and renewable energy from geothermal and hydro sources reduces dependence on global fuel markets. Fishing provides a staple food source that has long sustained its population. Together, these resources form a foundation for internal stability in times of global stress. In daily life, Icelanders are used to self-reliance and community cooperation. Well-developed public services, strong social cohesion, and high levels of trust mean that even during wider instability, routines, schools, markets, healthcare can continue with minimal interruption. Country 8, New Zealand. At the bottom end of the Pacific Ocean, New Zealand occupies a unique position in global geography. Thousands of kilometers from Asia, Europe, and the Americas, these islands are physically distant from most of the world's major powers. New Zealand has a long-standing tradition of independent foreign policy, often aligned with peaceful multilateralism rather than military alliances. While a member of international institutions, it has generally avoided entanglements in major wars and maintained a reputation for diplomatic calm. This geographical isolation, combined with rugged terrain and remote location, reduces the likelihood of foreign invasion or extensive military targeting. There are limited foreign military bases, and the nation's strategic value lies more in its biodiversity, agriculture, and cultural heritage than in military assets. Agriculture is central to New Zealand's economy and food security. The country produces a surplus of dairy, meat, and grains that not only feed its population but support exports. While energy imports exist, there is substantial domestic generation from hydro, geothermal, and wind sources, enhancing resilience. In daily life, New Zealanders enjoy open landscapes, community orientation, and robust infrastructure. During global instability, these strengths would support continuity of essential services, from health care to food distribution, with less disruption than in more interconnected regions. Country 7, Austria. In the center of the European continent lies Austria, a nation shaped by the Alps and a long history of neutrality. Surrounded by countries that were once empires, Austria today is a peaceful, prosperous state with deep cultural roots. Austria's neutral status dates from the mid-20th century, emphasizing non-alignment in military alliances. This has helped it avoid entanglement in international conflicts while maintaining robust diplomatic relations across regions. Geographically, Austria's mountainous terrain provides natural defense and isolation from direct access routes used in large-scale conflicts. Its strategic military value is limited. It does not host expansive foreign bases, and its economy is more aligned with services, tourism, and high-value manufacturing than military infrastructure. Austria invests in food and energy security through sustainable agricultural practices in alpine valleys and diversified energy sources, including hydroelectric power. These layers of self-sufficiency reduce reliance on imported essentials during global shocks. Life in Austria during broad instability would likely be rooted in community resilience, reliable public services, strong local governance, and familiar daily life rhythms, even as the wider world faces uncertainty. Country 6, Slovenia. Nestled between the Alps and the Adriatic Sea, Slovenia is one of Europe's quieter nations. Yet its blend of geography and policy positions give it unique advantages. Slovenia is moderately isolated by mountainous terrain and small population density. It does not have major foreign military bases and has historically focused inward on domestic governance and stability, rather than foreign conflict. While part of European institutions, its strategic role in global geopolitics is limited compared to larger neighbors. Agriculture, forestry, and local energy resources support its internal resilience. Its food production, while modest, is diversified across mountain and karst landscapes, and initiatives for renewable energy expand independence. Imagine life in towns like Ljubljana or Maribor in an unstable world. Regular markets, strong community ties, and local services that continue functioning with minimal disruption. These everyday realities matter deeply in how a population weathers long-term instability. Country 5, Finland. Tucked in northern Europe, Finland blends vast wilderness with a culture of unflinching preparedness, making it a quiet powerhouse for survival in chaos. Bordered by endless forests, thousands of lakes, and a sparse population spread across 338,000 square kilometers, its geography acts like a natural shield, hard to overrun quickly without massive logistical strain on any invader. The terrain favors defenders, swamps, bogs, and subarctic winters that have historically chewed up armies. From ancient times to the Winter War of 1939-40, when Finland held off a Soviet giant. Finland's history of self-reliance shines through its defense model. No big foreign bases cluttering the landscape, just a focus on territorial defense and civilian training that starts young. Every able-bodied citizen trains in the reserves, over 900,000 strong, learning marksmanship, first aid, and guerrilla tactics from school days onward. This turns the whole nation into a resilient network, where forests become foxholes and lakes hide patrols. Though a NATO member since 2023, its low profile in global military matters means few enemies see value in targeting it beyond border skirmishes. Preparedness runs deep. Annual civil defense drills test everything from blackouts to rationing, fostering a mindset where panic has no foothold. Food security? Finland stockpiles grains, preserves, dairy, and essentials for up to 6 months. National reserves rival those of Cold War giants. Its farms yield potatoes, oats, barley, berries, and fish from icy waters, with greenhouses and vertical farming extending seasons against harsh climate. Self-grown rapeseed oil and meat from reindeer herds add variety. Energy comes from nuclear reactors, hydro dams on wild rivers, biomass from abundant timber, and wind turbines dotting coasts, covering over 50% domestically, dodging oil shocks that cripple others. Water? Crystal lakes and aquifers abound, purified naturally. Picture daily life in Helsinki's sturdy streets or a remote lakeside cabin. Families with stocked pantries and wood stoves. Community drills keeping spirits high, markets running on local co-ops and bartering. Healthcare stays online via decentralized clinics and mobile units, reaching even Lapland outposts. Saunas provide warmth, morale boosts, and decontamination spots if needed. Biking to work, ice fishing, or sisu-fueled gatherings endure, routines unbroken. Kids still ski to school, elders share folklore by firelight. Finland teaches that safety isn't hiding, it's gearing up smartly, layering geography with grit so everyday joys like midsummer festivals persist. Country 4, Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein sits between Swiss peaks and Austrian hills, a principality so small, 160 square kilometers. It flies under radars in any war map, home to just 40,000 souls. No standing army since 1868, just a 125-strong national police force backed by neighborly defense pacts with Switzerland. Keeps threats at bay without fanfare or fuss. Its borders? Rugged Rhine River gorges and alpine passes that funnel attackers into kill zones if they dare. Its neutrality is ironclad, etched into treaties post-Napoleonic era. No foreign troops trampling soil, no bases inviting bombs, no strategic ports to contest. Tucked deep in mountains with narrow valleys and avalanche-prone slopes. Invading means threading a logistical needle through choke points patrolled by elite neighbors. Global powers overlook it entirely. Why fight for a specs with no oil fields, no nukes, no vast resources to seize? History proves it. Sat out both world wars unscathed, a diplomatic ghost even titans ignored. Self-sufficiency scales perfectly to its size. Food via Swiss supply lines buffered by victory gardens, hydroponics in greenhouses, and castle vineyards yielding wine. Energy from micro-hydro plants on the Rhine and solar panels blanketing hills. 100% renewable, zero import panic. Wealth from precision manufacturing, stamps, and finance, one of world's richest per capita, funds vast bunkers carved into rock, modern hospitals, and emergency reserves stocked for years. Currency? Swiss franc, rock solid. Daily rhythms in Vaduz's castle or quiet villages like Balzers. Picture pristine streets where kids bike to bilingual schools, cafes serving local porridge fresh from valley farms, trams gliding silently. Governance flows family style. Prince Hans Adam II consults parliament weekly. Decisions snap fast without bureaucracy bloat. Families hike trails unchanged for centuries. Banks secure generational savings. Festivals lift moods with parades. Neighborhood watches evolve into watchtowers. Community cellars brim with cheese wheels. Liechtenstein proves size isn't safety's measure. It's smart positioning, oversight, and unity that let picnics by the Rhine, piano recitals in parish halls, and soccer on village pitches carry on amid global storms. Wealth whispers self-reliance here. Country 3, Portugal. Perched on Europe's Atlantic flank, Portugal rides the Iberian Shield like a sentinel facing the open sea. Its geography a moat of crashing waves, rugged cliffs, and Pyrenees mountains blocking easy land grabs, far from heartland battlefields. At 92,000 square kilometers, it's Europe's westernmost, with 800 kilometers of coast that historically lured explorers but now buffers blasts. History whispers caution, neutral in both world wars, feeding allies slyly while dodging scars as neighbors bled. No major alliances pull it into crosshairs. Military stays home-focused post-1974 revolution, with scant foreign hardware or megabases. Navy guards Azores outposts, but no carrier fleets invite navies. Strategists skip it for bigger prizes like Gibraltar. Portugal's value? Tourism and trade, not tanks. Douro River valleys and Alentejo plains provide natural choke points. Food flows abundantly from fertile plains. Olives groves eternal, cork oaks, world leader, sardine fleets hauling Atlantic bounty, vineyards swelling port wine and wheat/orchards yielding surplus for 10 million. Rice paddies in the north, citrus in Algarve, diverse, drought-resistant strains from colonial savvy. Fisheries thrive in rich upwellings, goat herds roam hills, renewables roar. Wind farms offshore claim 25% power. Hydro on Tagus dams another 30%. Solar baking south, over half green, slashing import woes. Gas from Algeria pipelines, but LNG tanks brim. Envision Lisbon's trams clattering past Azulejo tiles. Algarve beaches dotted with locals netting fish. Porto markets brimming sardines, tomatoes, and pastéis de nata. Families gather for feijoada stews, slow-cooked on wood fires. Healthcare hums via SUS public nets reaching villages. Ferries link Madeira and Azores seamlessly with stockpiled fuel. Fado music lilts in taverns. Soccer stadiums echo cheers. Festas harvest saints' days with sardine grills. Portugal's warmth, literal Mediterranean sun and figurative soul, sustains fiestas. Bull runs in Ribatejo. And cod bacalhau feasts amid turmoil. Blending maritime buffer with earthy self-reliance rooted in seafaring lore. Daily poetry in motion. Country 2, Ireland. Ireland, the Emerald Isle on Europe's wet west edge, wears neutrality like a cloak. Untouched by NATO since 1949, no US bases bloating bogs, just 4,800 kilometers of ocean miles buffering continental fury from Shannon to Dublin. At 84,000 square kilometers, cliffs like Moher plunge 700 feet. Peatlands swallow tanks, Atlantic gales ground aircraft. Story? Skirted world wars via emergency stance, trading quietly while foes raged. Geography gifts windswept isolation, no land bridges, island arcs tough for landings. Low military footprint, 9,500 personnel, means zero appeal for strikes. It's no arms forge or fuel depot. Airfields? Civilian hubs? No runways for B-52s. Grassy fields pump dairy, world's top butter exporter. Beef herds on 6 million cows. Potatoes immune to blockade. Blight lessons learned. Barley for Guinness. Salmon rivers endless. Greenhouses bloom veggies year-round. Co-ops store silos full. Fishing quotas secure cod, mackerel from Atlantic shelves. Wind farms whirl, 40% power. Peat/nuclear at pools. Biofuels from rape fields. Rain ensures water towers overflow. Self-powered bliss. Daily pulse in Dublin's Temple Bar pubs or Kerry sheep farms. Rainy walks to Gaelic schools. GAA hurling pitches roaring with 80,000 fans. Shops stocked porter, spuds, Tayto crisps. Strong welfare nets deliver healthcare door-to-door. Communities knit via parishes and GAA clubs. Pubs morph into strategy hubs for stout and crack. Unbroken. Markets hawk black pudding breakfasts. Trad sessions fiddle reels nightly. Salies dance on. Farms milk dawn choruses. Ferries chug to Aran Isles with wool and kelp. Ireland's lilt, luck, and no bother foster calm where fiddles play. Fairy forts stand sentinel, and rainbows promise through storms. Country 1, Bhutan. While New Zealand shines remote, Bhutan, this Himalayan hideaway, rivals it with fortress peaks piercing 7,000 meters and happiness first vibes measuring gross national happiness over GDP. Wedged between India and China at 38,000 square kilometers. Narrow passes like Dochu Lagarde valleys. Monsoons flood trails. Snowberries invaders. Elevation averages 2,300 meters. Breathing alone deters armies. Neutrality roots in 1971 UN entry sans alliances, no bases. Culture shuns war via Buddhist edicts. Powers ignore it. No oil, no nukes. Just thunder dragons on flags. No strategic itch to scratch amid rice terraces. Terraced paddies ripple with red rice, buckwheat, millet. Organic surplus feeds 800,000 thrice over. Yak herds yield butter, cheese, wild mushrooms, cordyceps forage medicine. Apples from Paro, Chile's spice trade. Glacial rivers like Punakadzong fuel 100% hydro clean power, mini-grids light Gompas. Forests, 72% cover, purify air/water via bamboo filters. Life in Paro valleys or Thimphu. Chechu festivals thrum masked dances. Monks chant in 16th century dzongs. Villages barter chilies for imadachi cheese stew. Schools teach archery, national sport. Healthcare's free via village posts reaching yak trails. King's Trek circuits consulting llamas. Archery grounds echo cheers post-bow. Herbal baths heal. Hot stones cook ndja in riverside feasts. Bhutan's bliss layers isolation. Flights via India only. Serenity. Phalluses ward evil. And earth-tide living. No light pollution. thunderous skies, into armor for enduring storms. Prayer wheels turn eternally. It's important to remember that safe does not mean invulnerable. Every nation faces risks if global tensions rise. What we've highlighted, geographic isolation, political neutrality, low strategic military value, self-sufficiency, and civil stability, are comparative advantages. These factors do not immunize a country, but they can reduce exposure and support continuity of life when others falter. Human survival in times of global instability is rooted not in fear, but in understanding where geography, policy, and self-reliance align. Islands far from major power centers, mountain states that have chosen peace, nations whose people work the land and manage energy with foresight. These places share something profound. They show that safety is not about power, but about preparedness, balance, and continuity of daily life. If the world becomes more unstable, should safety be based on power or on peace? That's a question worth pondering. If you found this exploration valuable, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth geography and security documentaries from Discovering the Earth.